remarkably choose your word different way. I mean, this is a prosecutor making her case. This is also the same vice president who has been out there really for the last 3 years making speeches, but not when she is at the top of the ticket. Something has changed, obviously. Now this is her burden. This is her case. And often when the vice president has been out there, I've been at several of her rallies, she's been talking about the Affordable Care Act or the Infrastructure Fund. She's been selling the administration's programs, but not in a political speech like this. So look, the race to define Vice President Kamala Harris is on. She is locked in this race, obviously. She's trying to define herself as the prosecutor. And the Republicans are also trying to define her. But in this key moment here, right out of the gate, it was just striking to watch. I mean, she said it's 105 days between election day. Yes, we have work to do. We have an election to win. She's not saying that she has this, but Democrats just feel a breath of fresh air, a chance that they can actually be competitive in this race. But just judging her stamina, her energy, and her acuity at taking this on to Donald Trump, we're in an entirely different race now.
Yeah, that was a very lively campaign speech that we saw the crowd engaging in. To that end, with the contrast, Kristen, not only is it a contrast with where the President Biden's campaign has been, but she is now striking quite a contrast with former President Donald Trump. And we've seen her setting this up, that she was a prosecutor, he is a felon. She prosecuted these different types of cases. And then we did see her starting to really try out some slogans, and you heard her saying, "We're not going back," and people chanting. Does it start? Are they starting to try to really draw that contrast with Trump? That's a backward-looking choice.
I mean, I want to go to what Jeff was just saying, because I think right now what the Trump folks are focused on is this race to define Kamala Harris. Because when they look at all of the polling, they obviously see the same thing that everybody else did, which was that Kamala Harris has high name identification. But when it comes to what people actually know about Harris, not just as vice president, but also as her time as a prosecutor, most people don't know a lot about her history. She is now going to have to really race in the next 4 months to define what that means going forward, particularly to people who aren't at that rally, who aren't just so excited for a more lively candidate, but are still looking for options. That is what the Trump people are going to try to combat. You are going to see them trying to educate people or, quote unquote, introduce Kamala Harris, their version of Kamala Harris, to the American public. And it's obviously going to be increasingly negative. We've already seen Donald Trump over and over again bashing her on social media, trying out his different slogans that say they're more insulting than Kamala Harris saying, "Let's not go back." But I believe this is going to get increasingly more personal. And one thing to note is that the head of Trump's polling, Tony Fabrizio, put out a memo that he blasted to essentially everyone. They said it was an internal memo, but they sent it to the press, which said that they were expecting a Harris honeymoon. Well, clearly they are expectation and level setting right now. They essentially say that there is likely to be a number of polls in coming weeks, national polls included, that show Harris either gaining on Donald Trump in a way that Biden was not, or surpassing Donald Trump, but that they expect over time things will even out. Again, this is expectation setting for people who have been seeing these poll numbers with Donald Trump, probably also expectation setting for the candidate himself.
All right, Kristen Holmes, Jeff Zeleny, stay with us. We have much more.